Yes, sit here, please. So I think that we can start. If someone will be entering the pavilion, it's okay during the session. So welcome, esteemed guests, to the presentation of our Climate Action Initiative. Your presence today signifies shared commitment to our working on to our youth community working on climate action and shared your commitment to a sustainable future. Let's embark on this journey together towards a greener and more resilient world. I think that I would be presenting first, and then we will be speaking with our colleagues from different countries. I would love to just name the guests that are speaking together with us today. It's Elena Alexandra Miron from Romanian Youth Council. Also, Safa Fisalam Bahari from Eden Strategy Institute, Sustainability Consultants and Youth Mentoring and Advocacy. Our guest from Commonwealth Youth, Eileen Go, advisor for Sustainable Urbanization Commonwealth and Commonwealth Sustainable Energy Transition working groups. So let me have a quick presentation of the initiative, and then we will go to the presentations of our speakers and go to the discussion. So Climate Action Initiative Central Asia is just a brand new initiative for our region, and our mission is supporting and catalyzing real climate action by strengthening the identification of new solutions among young professionals, entrepreneurs, and researchers, and also creating a dynamic ecosystem for youth learning and engagement in climate action at all levels. So our mission is to make a long-term engagement with, on behalf of and for young people in the context of climate action by enabling them to gain and share knowledge. Climate Action Initiative is a think tank platform that accumulates and creates collaborative impact solutions. Our target audience is young up to 35 years old, because in our country, young people is up to 35 years old. Entrepreneurs, researchers, scientists in the field of climate action. And we will be working on creating knowledge center and a catalyst for impact solutions, conducting joint research projects, firstly for research community, and secondly for other communities, which are startup community, investors, corporate businesses looking for different climate solutions. So the key stakeholders of the initiative is this group of the stakeholders, which are universities, international organizations, corporate business, state organizations, investors, and tech entrepreneurs in the fields of clean tech and climate tech. So our goal is to become the first climate think tank in Central Asia among young professionals. And for us, it is a challenge to build such a new initiative for our region. Key fields of our future action will be climate tech and science, climate finance, climate law and policy, and we will be building the ecosystem consisting of IQ sensor, accelerator, corporate innovation center, and community. So for IQ Center, our main goal is to make and build R&D researchers and collaborate with universities and research institutes for hypothesis confirmations and proof of concept. Accelerator is for industry-oriented solutions to be explored among new entrepreneurs. And Corporate Innovation Center is for supporting our organizations in development and integrating innovative solutions based on their real needs and current trends. So our goal is to make a partnership with the UNFCCC and UN Climate Change Regional Collaboration. For now, Regional Collaboration Center is working on Asia and the Pacific, but there is no representation of the interests of Kazakhstan. So we want to also support regional climate weeks in our region in the future. And also our Mr. President Tokayev just announced that in 3 years, we will be hosting our regional climate summit in Kazakhstan. So that's why our initiative will be helping to prepare international organizations, participants in this summit. We're also looking for partnership with the host of this pavilion, which is Regional Environmental Center for Central Asia, including the Climate Action Transparency Hub. And also, for now, at COP, we're making a lot of negotiation process in order to partner with different donors, foundations, and NGOs from different geographies. That's why we also invited our dear guests to share their experience in such actions. We already presented our initiative for our Kazakhstan and Central Asian delegation 2 days ago here at the pavilion, and very happy to see our international guests there to be our future partners. And our goals for the next year is development of the program and launch of the first climate tech accelerator for startups from Central Asia countries. And the second one is joining Central Asian countries in our climate action initiative. And then the last but not least is development and establishment of the Central Asian Carbon Polygons project. It will be little polygons for our climate science and climate tech experts in order to make their R&D things and to work on their new technologies that they will be developed. So that's it for now from me, and I would love to give opportunity to speak to our next speakers. Just let's can you please make a second the second presentation. So just a second, we'll be waiting for the presentation to be put on the screen. Okay, so for second guest is from Singapore. Safa, I would love to invite you to the stage to speak about the Singapore's youth development program.
Sure, thank you. Hi, my name is Safa. I am a sustainability consultant or strategy consultant at Eden Strategy Institute. So I'm one of the 20 youth delegates that the government is sponsoring and sending us to COP28 this year. We do a lot of things to support our youths in Singapore. There's not too many of us, to be honest, given our sort of population demographics, which is why it's even more important that the youths that are around are truly empowered to bring about the change that we need in the future. So we do a lot of things, but I think I'd like to talk about specifically the Climate Youth Development Program, which I was a part of, and the youths today at the COP at the Singapore Pavilion, who are making very nice coffees and running programs, part of. Right. So this was a inaugural program that we had. It's co-organized by 3 ministries in Singapore. So the Ministry of Sustainability and Environment, the National Climate Change Secretariat of Singapore, as well as the National Youth Council of Singapore. So it's really a multi-ministry, inter-ministry sort of effort to bring an unprecedented number of youths together towards this sort of international platform, so you can really represent what we have in Singapore. Okay, so the CYDP, as we call it, there were 40 of us, right? Climate youth leaders with quite a huge variety of backgrounds. So some studying, some working, across the age range of 18 to 35. So we have people who have not even entered university yet, and we going all the way to people who already have families. So we bring together this whole group of youths, put them into a room for 5 days, speak to a lot of people, and you come up with where we are right now. So when we're talking about backgrounds here, we're talking about if we're talking about professions, we have people who are sustainability consultants, we have people who are teachers, we have people who are PhD students, and on the student side, we have people leading a lot of youth groups. What we went through in this induction week, 5-day, pretty intensive, full-day induction week, lots of panel discussions and workshops with all sorts of policymakers from different industries, like the National Environment Agency and the Public Utilities Board is looking after coastal protection measures. We talked to the people at NCCS, which is looking at Singapore's Innovation Sharing League. Lots of other ministries that are also looking at even urban heat island effect, which is something that we really grapple with in Singapore. So aside from policymakers, industry experts, as well as civil society leaders. So really a grasping of whole of society approaches that we have in Singapore. There were also field trips to experiential learning centers. So Sungai Buloh wetlands. So we brought the youth out to natural areas. Jurong Island, where we have our petrochemical refinery that we're trying to turn into a really sustainable destination, and ComCrop, which is Singapore's largest urban rooftop farming enterprise. And what came out of that 5 days is really where we are today. We're supporting the pavilion programming at the Singapore Pavilion, but we're also shadowing negotiators. So we're really in the rooms looking at what are different country positions and how we can really arrive at the alignment that we need in international cooperation. COP28 wasn't the only international platform. There's others that are coming up as well. Maybe I just want to share a few photos so you guys can look at not just text. This is a session with the Government Chief Sustainability Officer of Singapore. So as you can see, everyone is taking notes very furiously. And what you will see in just a bit is that what we were given is we are given the chance to be able to trade views with these change accelerators, right? So in Singapore, where policy regulation is actually a big factor in how fast we can move, these are the sort of trade-offs and views from the government that we need to sort of help our youth to be au fait with, and to understand just how carefully the policies trade-offs have already been evaluated. We were brought out to ComCrop. This is, as I said, the largest urban rooftop farm in Singapore, where we talk to not just the change accelerators, but the change drivers, right? People who are really facing the challenges on the ground, trying to get people to buy cleaner than organic food, but at a higher price premium. So what are the challenges in terms of supply and demand that he faces, and in terms of the communications that he has to bring to the general public? I think one thing that we learn is that we in a place like Singapore, where a lot of time we spend in buildings and in indoor spaces, we really need to bring youth to venture out of the urban settings, not just to break the comfort zone, but to remind them that the urban settings that we are at wasn't always an urban setting. There's something that came over, and it's a very deliberate decision, and there's a reason why we evaluated the trade-offs that way. This was something that I feel was that I'm really proud of in the program. Every time there was a Q&A session, it was not enough time. There's people running to the mics. And I think the idea here is that we really created a brave space for each other. The fact that we're so diverse is not really creating a space for competition, but rather a space for learning and collaboration. So everyone's trying to learn from each other and trying to make the best use of the opportunity. And I think the last thing here is that while maybe we started off thinking that it's a 5-day program or it's a program that's designed to bring us to COP, I think what really was the success of the program is creating a thriving community of such passionate youth leaders. And even though only half of us were selected to come here, the other half that's staying in Singapore have a really important job of helping propagate that access and propagate that opportunity to those that can't be here in Dubai today. So I think we're really looking forward to see how these 40 youths are going to shape that community and bring it further, and how next batches will benefit from the efforts of this first batch. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Safa, for sharing the story of the Singapore. And I think that for Kazakhstan and Central Asia, this is a great example how to build new communities among young professionals. And I think that 40 professionals is not a little amount. It's quite good amount of really involved people that are interested in new, really working carbon actions for the country. So let me introduce to the stage the next speaker, Elena Alexandra Miron from Roman Youth Council, to share your experience, please.
Probably like this. I don't have a presentation, but I hope I will get you through an exploratory journey with me, so I can present you a different way of doing things as a young person in Romania. So my name is Elena Miron, and I'm also a youth delegate for the Party of Romania. And also I'm the representative, the official structure of youth in Romania. So probably you might think that if the European Union delegation has already a proper delegation and a lot of voices there, the young people would have been the same. Well, in Romania, it's not like this yet. But indeed, what I've seen here, it gives me hope that I can bring those best practice examples in my country as well. So what we are doing in Romania that is quite good, and I will give you only the positive side, of course. As the national structure of young people in Romania, we are trying to get as much attention as we can from the government. And how we are doing that? We decided that if we cannot get the support, the proper support that we truly need, and not only need, but it's imperative, we will go through other sources of like help to see if we can create some pressure over there, but a good pressure. So what we did, and I will give you a little bit of a story of a project that actually started in 2020 when everything was kind of closed and everything like that. So we got a source, a very amazing source of money from the Climate Reality organization, as we wrote a very good project in Romania that we didn't think it would work. But it worked. So we took a break, of course, 2020 to 2021. But as the national structure of Romania, we gathered in this off time, everyone around. So even the regional, local, like people, and not people, young people from even like the smaller villages in Romania. And it was an amazing thing to open their doors to like opportunity, and not only that, funding as well. We were able to pay them, but I will tell you in a minute. So this project that we applied with, and we got a good amount of money to implement, started in 2021 when we started to implement it properly and to get all the young people that we contacted in Bucharest, the capital of Romania. So we had around 5,000 young people from all over the country in one single place. And we started this project. I will tell you a little bit of the project itself. So it is called Between Neighbors as a translation in Romanian, but it is called Între Vecini. This is how we say between neighbors. And this project actually tells you a little bit about the society around you. So the mission of the project, and it is still a project that is going very well, has probably two big objectives: to get the neighbors in a residential area together and to kind of collaborate and negotiate and trade a few products and services between themselves. Usually the neighbors don't know each other. So that's like a problem. So we are creating communities around like a good topic. So we would give them a fund to the association of the neighbors to put photovoltaic panels on their residential building. It's usually for the residential big apartment buildings. And we had a contest. We chose one first. That was like the funding about. We implemented the good example in Bucharest. The government saw us having so much success and media coverage and press coverage and everything. And that happened in less than 1 year. And after this, a huge bank in Romania came to us and said, you know what? You know that the application for sponsorship is like a long thing. No, we're going to give you 250,000 euros to do that in whole Romania. So I have like goosebumps, but in today's age, what we are doing, and I have government support as well. We have, media outlets, NGOs, human beings all over. Everyone is kind of involved in this project, and everyone seems to know. Like I go around Romania, I talk to people, and then, între vecini, I know it. I know. Are you coming to us? Are you putting photovoltaic panels on our building as well, please? Like, because this project not only cuts the bills of the entire building, but it brings a little bit of like an amount of money for them to improve their building so they can improve their community as well. So we created spaces around the building as well. We funded them like gardens and small places with chairs and screens so they can have like movie night as a community open for public. I mean, I want to show you some videos, but I don't have them with me. I was chaotic, but I really wanted to tell you this. So you should see the vibe of like, oh, I don't know. I didn't know that you're like next to me in the apartment. Hi, how are you? May I cook you something one night? I mean, it was like, I don't know, it opens something in people. So we are human beings. Of course, we are sometimes technical. We are here to negotiate and to see what we can do for our world, basically, and the future generations. But we are humans, and we tend to connect through emotion and through, like, I don't know, cultural things like food and music and all the traditions that we all have. So I think this project actually made us not only, developing something at national level that brought a lot of young people. I'm not saying that the National Youth Council is going good right now, but it's like, I mean, it brought the good vibe in the whole society, and people are seeing this, and they all want to have the photovoltaic panels. They all want to have the communities that we are creating, and now we are able to hire people, community catalysts, to go further with this. So we are able to basically fund young people to do what they like. So, I mean, we expected nothing from this funding. Well, maybe we expected to implement like some photovoltaic panels, but I think it's gonna go like national for sure. So we have guides as well on how to put photovoltaic panels on the residential buildings. The government started to implement that on national level as well, because we didn't have that. And Romania is very known as a potentially good country to have like renewable energy in. So, I mean, I wanted to just give you a visualization of what we are doing there, and maybe could be an example of good practice for young people as well in your countries to start and do something that has like the emotional and the youth side, innovative side, but also having something concise for these people to actually take us into consideration, because, it's like, it brings us profit. Well, yeah, okay, then let's do something about it and actually have a proper impact, positive impact on the society. So this was what I really wanted to share. I think I'm pretty proud of what we did in Romania, and I will, I don't know if I can, but maybe at some point I will give you, if you're interested, some videos, and you can see how we did it, and how was the branding and who was involved and everything else. So thank you so much.
Thank you. The funding was so cool. So yeah, it's a good example for us to also raise some funds for our initiative next year. And next speaker will be presenting Commonwealth. So Eileen Go, advisor for 2 groups working on Commonwealth. Commonwealth is a huge organization, by the way, is a voluntary association of 56 independent and equal countries in Africa, Asia, the Americas, Europe, and the Pacific. So as advisor, Eileen, please, some words about the Commonwealth actions. Yeah, sure, as you wish.
Yeah, I don't really have a presentation, but I just wanted to put on the logos because it's quite a mouthful. Hi everyone, I'm Eileen Go. So my role really came upon as a staff. So I was actually Singapore's volunteer on the Commonwealth Youth Council. And then along the way, I saw gaps that I wanted to close, and then I decided to join the Secretariat. And when I was working in the Secretariat, I was working for the youth team for social policy. And then, at the Commonwealth, one of the strongest strengths, I would say, it's the convening power of, ministerial, of heads of government together to discuss, problems, or not problems, but development issues, challenges. But one of the things, or at least what I saw my role is now as an advisor, is to constantly ask the question, when a project or idea comes to us, to the youth network, we ask the question back, can this be done by us? Can this be controlled by us? Can it be designed by us? Because at the end of the day, we want to upend the narrative that young people are leaders of today. They have so much value that they can bring, and that they really should be the one who are designing the programs for fellow youth, for children, for adolescents, and for future generations. So that's what we try to do. So the Commonwealth Youth for Sustainable Urbanization, actually, the story is like this. So there are a few organizations in the Commonwealth that came together, and they said, we have a call to action. At the heads of government meeting in 2018, they said, we want to have a call to action for sustainable urbanization. So these organizations are across the built environment, say the architects, the town planners, the young mayors, the researchers from Commonwealth universities. But then again, there was a gap where we saw young professionals not actively, or don't have a platform to be, given authority, or to be at the table, or to hold positions, which I understand, and we understand, because it takes a lot of years of experience for you to be able to gather, that authority, right? So what the young people then came together and said is, we wanted a young professional, youth-focused parallel to the initiative that's already started. And that's how a string, and you will see if you went to the Commonwealth website, you will see last year in the heads of government meeting, there were a string of launches of youth working groups, task forces, networks, because the youth started to say that, you know what, we want to have a voice, but it is no longer enough for you to say, here is one seat at the table, choose one representative, and then one representative have to represent the entire Commonwealth of 56 countries and 1 billion young people. So this is why this is just a little bit background of how we started. So The other thing is because when we talk about, you know, for example, like the initiative that you bring up, collaboration is very, very difficult. It's already very difficult within a country. So you can imagine across entire geographical sense, and in the Commonwealth, it spreads across 5 regions. So the only thing that really can unite us are large purposes, large impact stories, communities. I love it when Elena brought it up, like bring it down to the story of that person. And that's what we try to do here. So a few things that we try to do is, number one, because it is difficult for young people to go directly to your government and say, I want to be at this table, this meeting, this ministerial, it's very difficult. We found successes through international organizations like the Commonwealth, where they have the convening power. And when they put together a ministerial meeting, they then already, you know, because they are the designers of these meetings, they can then say, you know, because we want to push forward the youth agenda, we then have a reserve seat. So for the first time last year, the leads and the volunteers of the Commonwealth Sustainable Energy Transition, actually this year, just a few months ago, for the first time at the Sustainable Energy Transition meeting of the Commonwealth, the young people were not only at the table, they were given a full 4-hour session to lead, to design, and that the entire ministerial had to go through. So I think these are really some examples of how we can create platforms to help set in the narrative to people of different levels and to ministers and to governments that young people are capable of leading a session, of leading a technical session, and they can bring so much value. So that's just one thing. The other thing that we do is we try to create programs not only for young people, but for the future generation. So one of the things we like to say is, so across the Commonwealth, across most countries, we have a common language called English, but there are also a lot of countries where English is not their first language. So when we wanted to do things along sustainable urbanization, we realized that a lot of people don't even understand what is the definition of sustainable urbanization. So what happened is the young people came together and they said, whatever awareness or education project that we want to do, we first ask ourselves, can a 3-year-old understand this? Can a 5-year-old understand this? And then that's how the idea about, you know, young people coming together and say, we want to educate people about clean energy, you know, not only renewable energy, but clean sources of energy, and how can that transition be more just? And then it's straying into, you know, books for children, because if a child can understand that book, and so can anybody else in the room. I think so that's what we want to do. So one of the other things we did besides having a children book, it's also having a children and youth challenge. It's really because we wanted to engage the next generation of people to really look at big problems, but from their lenses. So these are just some of the ways that we feel can cross different countries, geographical boundaries, languages, and unite people towards some innovative solutions. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Maybe we can just switch to the next slide to see the contact details, if possible. Contact details of the energy transition sustainable urbanization.
Yeah, so the next slide is just QR code. Yeah.
Следующий slide. Yeah, so as I understand, everyone from the world can also be a part of Commonwealth, right? So maybe I just forgot that we got a clicker. Sorry. Okay, so one question for each speaker, if possible. Safa, it's very interesting to know about the ministry support of your initiative, right? So it's quite great example when the ministry is supporting organizations like you, but I would love to know the story. So was it a bottom-up initiative, or you just maybe some of the founders was a part of the ministry and then they wanted to have more voice inside their organization in-house, or it was just from the another side and you got lots of attention by using some actions?
So, so I wasn't there when it was created, but what I've heard is that so we have pretty good youth representation through the government. I think one thing that the government does quite well is that we engage our citizens, including our youth, pretty well. We have this thing called the In Spirit initiative group, where basically we have a panel of youths that the government sort of seeks opinions for when they are trying to think of new ideas or new policies. And one of the people on the In Spirit panel raised the idea that, hey, actually at COP, this is as universal alignment as it gets, right? This is basically the pinnacle of how the world aligns to fight climate change. But it's a very complicated process, and it takes people years to understand the process behind the COP and to understand the trade-offs that are made, not just at an individual country level, but between countries and between country groupings. And so there was an idea that what is the best way to get youth involved and to understand the workings of COP. And one of the answers is, let's bring some youth to COP. But it's not so simple, right? There's the fact that when you bring people to COP and you tell them that, hey, we've brought a couple of young people and they are here to represent the government, there's always a difficult challenge of making sure that the youth are equipped to represent the government. Then first of all, they need to know what are the country's policies and positions and trade-offs that they grapple with. And second, they need to be put in they need to have be equipped with the ability to engage with other countries on their trade-offs and their positions in a way that's productive for discussion. I think that's something that Singapore is really proud of, our way to the fact that we are very much a bridging sort of country, and we're able to bridge positions between sometimes opposed country groupings. So how do we train our youth to reach that level? It's going to be a process. And I think one thing that's really important in this is what is the imperative, or what is the benefit of involving youth along the way? The idea is that our younger generations are very much our younger generations are slightly unlike older generations in which they're not afraid to voice their opinions out. And we have much greater reach through social media and through our communities than maybe previous generations. And so it's very, very important for that trust and capital to continue to be built. And I think that's the case that people in Spirit and people within the youth officers within the government as well were making to higher ups, to say that, hey, ultimately, eventually the youth that are currently equipped and that are engaged in climate policy are not going to be used anymore in a few years or in a decade's time. So there has to be a pipeline, or systematic way that you're training youth up. And ideally, this is an effort that is not always driven by the government. It needs to be maybe seeds planted by the government or by different bodies, but it needs to be youth that are driving that advocacy and driving that literacy and driving that empowerment. So I think that's the genesis. It was there was appetite from the government to have more youth representation, but there was also a lot of people, youth who are working closely with the government, who said that if you want more people like me, then you can't just expect that to come up by itself automatically. You need to put in the right structures and systems and the right funding for more climate youth leaders to be equipped. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I think that key thing is not only be represented, but also engaged. Yeah, because some of the organizations, they love to represent someone from the young professionals, but they are not engaged in reality. So this is the key thing. Thank you so much, Safa, for your story. And Elena, it will be interesting to know, have you ever experienced collaborations with other countries? Maybe Romania partnered with other countries that are from your region. If yes, how it was and what challenges you faced during this process?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. That was a very good answer, by the way. Yeah. I can learn a lot from you and maybe apply it. So yeah. We are quite at national youth perspective. We are collaborating with a lot of course, European countries, and of course, our neighbors as well. And so we are trying to either build new ways of approaching, because everyone kind of has the same problem in terms of youth delegates, the programs, what it is internationally, what it is applied in our own governmental legislation. The youth strategies are not really taken into consideration. We are not as young people, we are not that important because we are not voting, so we are not a very important stakeholder, because this is the truth. So we are trying to kind of change that and shake that a little bit, but in the region or in the neighborhood. So that is what we are doing. Basically with the projects, we are trying to just create some guides that can help other regions like ours, maybe with the same kind of resources and whatever society mindset, to implement some things that we are doing, but we are doing kind of the same with them as well. I mean, it's a very fine line though sometimes, because you have like, for example, we have this group, the European Youth Delegates Group, and it's made by Axel, the youth delegate for Sweden. But in Sweden, a lot of things work. So it's great. But when I go, I leave here from this fairy tale of, okay, we're gonna do things, and oh my God, yes, and I have so many ideas, and oh my God, I'm gonna implement everything, and I'm going to the national level and seeing the same problems all over again, and knock into the same doors and they're not opening. But I made some changes right now. But anyways, yeah, it's kind of the same and vicious circle, and you lose hope as a young person. How many times can you go to a person and ask them the same question and receive other answers? It's just like a repetitive thing. So if I usually if I come with an example from Sweden or from any other country that has everything kind of put in place, or maybe better, they're like, oh well, we don't know how to do it. We don't know how to implement it here. So I have to come with concise things, and it's like in general, like with I'm sure that adults as well as young people face this problem when you are not you are thinking about some things, you want some things, but you don't know exactly how to express them. So what I've learned as a 27-year-old young person, kind of working within the ministerial delegation and also the private sector and also the youth sector, what I've learned is that I have to make it nice and simple. Exactly like you said, like, is a 3-year-old gonna understand? Okay, then I'm gonna go to the government and tell them exactly that. But not because they don't wanna, they are like, they don't know how to comprehend. It's like, just because I feel like they don't have that much mental space as well. So it's important to kind of like look at both sides and decide how you wanna, if you want something, or a lot of young people behind you, you're representing them, want something, it needs to be quite diplomatic, it needs to be demanding, it needs to be concise, it needs to be simple. So basically about the partnerships, what we did between the neighbors is to kind of connect the international relations delegates from all over the place and to kind of implement that in our national structures. And as many people as we have in saying the same thing with kind of like exactly like you said, 5 countries, 1 region, one voice, exactly kind of the same, but for the young people, more power to us. And so, yeah, I think partnerships are very important. Taking getting examples from all over the world is very important, but like how to actually put them there in front of the decision makers, it should be, as I said, simple, delicate, concise, summarized, and great. Yeah, something like that.
Thank you so much. Yes, partnerships is one of the key moments for building new initiatives. But by the way, I think that maybe as from Commonwealth side, you can advise us as advisor that when the region is trying to make something new, sometimes there is kind of competition between countries. Who will be quicker, who will be faster, who will be bigger, who will be the best in the region, and etc. And this is quite a sad thing when young people try to build something, and from the other side, governments are competing with each other. So maybe as from Commonwealth, because Commonwealths work across geographies, right? You can just share your advice or your opinion how to avoid this competition in order not to make some more challenges for young professionals working with that.
I'm sure there are people in the room more qualified to answer this question than I am, but I would speak from the point of view of youth networks, youth bodies, and youth task forces. The advice I always give myself and the networks I lead would be to carve your own space. There is always going to be competition. The first thing is what I said earlier. How can we take a step back and then create that common purpose that can go above that competition and that noise? That's one. The second thing is competition may not be bad. If we know how to carve it properly, if we know how to direct it towards that larger purpose. And I think competition actually is good. It's just that it's really how you can frame it better, so that it's not against each other, but it's really for, you know, a better outcome, like a better idea or something like that. Yeah, I think that would be what I would say. Carving your own space, it's really forcing you to say, it is really noisy here. It is a lose-lose situation if I were to go into that space. How can I step back and then recarve that pie and say, you know what, this is where we stand out. This is where young people can really bring value. I can't bring value based on the number of years of experience compared to somebody much older than I am, but it doesn't mean that I can't be faster, more agile, more innovative because we're on the ground. So I think you just need, it's almost like creating your own business, right? You need to know what you're good at, what's your niche, and then use competition in a way where it's useful and helpful in bringing people towards the better ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. If we have some questions from the audience, you can just raise your hand. If not, I want to just thank you, all of the guests and all of the speakers, that you supported our initiative and came to our session. It was so insightful to know the stories that you were involved in. And I think that in the future and from the next year, we will be working with other geographers and as you as a representative of other countries, for us, are #1 partners who support us from the beginning. So thank you so much. Thank you for everyone who came to the session. Take a photo if you want. Yeah. On the stage where like